In a quiet study room lit only by the flickering light of a single candle, a mysterious woman wrote fervently, her pen moving like a seismograph recording invisible tremors. Her name was Helena Petrovna Blavatsky. To most of the world, she was an enigma, a mystic, a revolutionary thinker, and a pioneer of spiritual science. But to those who truly listened, she was a messenger of a forgotten truth, that nothing in this universe stands alone. Every object, every soul, every thought is intricately woven into a vast, intelligent web of life. In her most celebrated work, The Secret Doctrine, she dared to say something radical for her time, that even our thoughts are not confined to our skulls. They ripple outward, influencing the very fabric of reality. But what does that really mean? Can a fleeting thought of love change the vibration of a distant room? Could despair in one soul awaken storms in another? These weren't poetic musings to Blavatsky. They were measurable truths waiting for humanity to remember. Today, as quantum physicists explore entanglement and neuroscience inches closer to decoding consciousness, the world is beginning to see what Blavatsky tried to tell us over a century ago. And once we begin to see the threads, everything changes. Let me take you into her world, a world where thought is substance, intention has weight, and nothing, absolutely nothing, happens by accident. Helena was born in 1831, in the heart of the Russian Empire. But from the very start, she felt like she didn't belong to this world. Her childhood was marked by strange visions, uncanny dreams, and encounters with people who seemed to appear just to deliver a message and then vanish without explanation. Her family, aristocratic and rational, tried to mold her into a traditional woman. But Helena refused. She ran away, again and again, and with every escape she stepped closer to the truth that would define her legacy. In her travels, across Europe, Egypt, the Americas, and finally Tibet, she met mystics, monks, and adepts of secret knowledge. But it wasn't until her time in the East that she encountered what she called the Masters of Wisdom. These beings, not spirits but highly evolved human intelligences, shared with her an ancient teaching that had been guarded for millennia, a teaching that explained the cosmos not as chaos, but as consciousness. That taught the mind is not a product of the brain but a force that shapes matter, that every thought you think echoes somewhere. Helena didn't keep this to herself. She returned to the West with a mission to break the spell of materialism, to awaken humanity to its forgotten power. But she knew it would come at a price. When Blavatsky founded the Theosophical Society in 1875, she declared it was not a religion, but a science of the soul. Its core principle was radical for the time. There is no dead matter. Everything is alive, vibrating, interconnected. Whether it's a tree, a star, or a silent idea in your mind, it participates in a grand living orchestra. One of her most striking claims was about thought itself. She insisted that thoughts were not private, they were forces. Every time you think something, it doesn't just vanish, it enters the astral plane, radiating energy. She compared it to sending out a signal, a broadcast, that would attract other like vibrations. Think of it, a hateful thought might silently join the stream of collective fear. A kind one might ripple into someone else's heart across the globe. Modern science is only now catching up to these ideas. Experiments in quantum entanglement, studies of consciousness influencing machines, and the discovery of mirror neurons all hint at something Blavatsky claimed without a lab. Your inner world is not separate from the outer world. Every thought is like a pebble thrown into the pond of existence. The ripples are real, and they return. But Helena's revelations were not always welcomed. She was mocked by scientists, attacked by the press, and betrayed by former followers. And still, she persisted. Because she wasn't fighting for fame, she was fighting for the soul of humanity. One of her most profound teachings was the law of correspondence. As above, so below. It means that the macrocosm and the microcosm mirror each other. The same patterns found in galaxies exist within atoms and within you. If you're feeling disconnected, it's not because the world has abandoned you. It's because you've stopped seeing yourself as part of it. Helena wrote, "The universe is worked and guided from within outwards. What we perceive as external reality is just a reflection of internal processes. This applies not only to individuals, but to societies. A culture saturated with fear will manifest division. A people grounded in love will build peace. And this is why your thoughts matter, not just for you, but for everyone." In her later years, Blavatsky began receiving letters, dozens then hundreds, from people who said her words had awakened something they couldn't explain. They described sudden clarity, dreams that felt like memories, an invisible force pulling them toward change. Some even said they began to see the world differently, colors deeper, sounds sharper, emotions more vivid. Could it be that reading her work was more than intellectual stimulation? Could it be a kind of spiritual activation? One letter stood out. A woman in Paris wrote, "Since reading your words, I feel like I'm not thinking anymore. I'm remembering." That was exactly what Helena wanted. She didn't claim to be inventing new knowledge. She said she was only restoring what we already knew, deep within, before the noise of the modern world drowned it out. This idea, that knowledge is remembrance, echoes the teachings of Plato and ancient Indian philosophy, and it ties back to one of her boldest claims, that humanity is not evolving toward divinity. We are rediscovering it. Beneath layers of fear, doubt, and conditioning lies a truth so powerful it can remake your entire life, and it starts with a single honest thought. To understand the power of thought, Blavatsky urged people to observe nature. Watch how a seed becomes a tree. The blueprint for that growth is not visible, but it exists. Just like your destiny, your purpose, and your potential. You cannot see them yet, but they respond to your focus, your energy, and your intention. She often used the metaphor of the lotus. It grows in the mud, but reaches for the light. To her, this symbolized the soul, rooted in the material, yet always seeking the divine. But the journey upward depends on the quality of thought. Negative thoughts act like stones tied to the stem. Positive thoughts? Like sunlight pulling it toward blossom. In The Voice of the Silence, a book she translated from Tibetan teachings, she writes, "Kill out ambition, but work as those who are ambitious." It's not about erasing desire, but purifying it, redirecting thought from selfish craving to compassionate action. Because every thought you send out is a choice, a brushstroke on the canvas of the future. So what are you painting today? Let's go deeper. Blavatsky believed that thoughts are not just powerful, they are entities, forms. In the invisible world, every thought generates a subtle body of energy, which lingers and interacts with others. She called these elementals, shaped by human thought, emotion, and intention. A loving prayer could give birth to a luminous, healing presence. A hateful obsession could manifest as a parasitic force that returns to harm its creator. In essence, we are constantly giving birth to invisible companions, thought forms that hover, grow, and sometimes take on lives of their own. This concept, once considered mystical nonsense, has found echoes in modern psychology and neuroscience. The power of belief, the placebo effect, psychosomatic illnesses all suggest that what we think, we become. But Blavatsky went further. She warned, "Be careful what you create with your mind. You might have to live with it." How many of us are surrounded by our own thought creations, unaware? How many blessings or curses have we sent into the world with a whisper, a judgment, a wish? Despite being physically ill and emotionally attacked, Helena continued writing until her death in 1891. In those final years, she dictated one of her most intimate works, The Key to Theosophy. There, she distilled her message for a new generation. The world will not change until we change the way we think. It was a call not for blind positivity, but conscious attention. Not just to what we say, but what we believe. She explained that thoughts don't simply vanish. They join what she called the Akashic records, a kind of energetic memory bank that stores every act, word, and thought. A universal archive that records our true legacy. Not what we owned, not what we wore, but what we willed into motion with our minds. She taught that every soul is part of this tapestry. That even if you feel alone, you are vibrating in a sea of influence and response. That your kind thought today may echo in someone else's miracle tomorrow. To Helena, this wasn't spirituality. It was the science of consciousness. And the time would come, she believed, when humanity would understand that the most powerful force in the universe is not technology or money, but thought. If thought is so powerful, why don't more people use it consciously? Blavatsky had a sharp answer: distraction. The modern world floods us with noise, urgency, and trivial concerns. It traps us in the surface of things, severing the connection with our deeper intuition. She called it the tyranny of form over essence. We're trained to chase appearances, status, possessions, opinions, while ignoring the invisible forces that shape real life: attention, imagination, belief. But she believed it's never too late to reclaim that power. The first step is awareness. The second is discipline. She advised people to observe their thoughts without judgment, as if watching clouds. To ask, is this thought useful? Is it mine? Or did I absorb it from someone else? You'd be shocked how many thoughts running through your head aren't even yours. They're echoes of media, fear, family, or past traumas. But once you see them, you can change them. Because the moment you reclaim your thoughts, you reclaim your life. One of Blavatsky's most surprising teachings was this: there are no coincidences. Every encounter, every delay, every twist in your path is part of a greater pattern. The universe, she said, is not chaotic, it's conversational, and your thoughts are part of the dialogue. She taught that synchronicity, the appearance of meaningful coincidences, is not random. It's the universe responding to your vibration. Think about someone and they call. Dream of a place, and a book about it falls into your hands. These are not accidents. They are the language of connection. She believed that once you begin to think consciously, the world begins to respond consciously. You step into a co-creative dance with life. You stop being a victim of fate and become a partner of the cosmos. It's a shift so profound, it can transform fear into purpose, confusion into clarity. And it begins where all creation begins, not outside but within. By the end of her life, Helena Blavatsky was no longer just a woman. She was a force, a voice that refused to be silenced. A bridge between ancient wisdom and modern science, between East and West, between mind and spirit. She had paid the price for truth, loneliness, ridicule, exhaustion, but she never regretted her mission. In one of her final letters, she wrote, "There is a road steep and thorny, beset with perils of every kind, but yet a road, and it leads to the heart of the universe." She believed each of us was meant to walk that road, not to escape the world, but to see it clearly, to become fully human. To remember, the key, thought, the thought that you matter, the thought that love is real, the thought that what you give returns, that nothing is lost, that every heartbeat echoes. Today, Helena's teachings are more relevant than ever. In a world dominated by artificial intelligence, social media, and endless noise, her voice cuts through with ancient clarity. Remember who you are. Remember what you're made of. You are not flesh alone. You are energy. You are intention. You are the weaver of your own reality. If you wake up in despair, change your thought. If you feel lost, shift your attention. If you want to see beauty, send out beauty. Because the universe, she taught, is not a machine, it's a mirror. What you give it, it reflects. Science may not yet prove it, religion may not fully grasp it, but those who have lived it know. And now that you know, what will you think next? So now, you stand at a threshold. You've heard the whispers of a woman who saw beyond time, who dared to say what many feared, that your thoughts are not small, not meaningless, not private. They are seeds, they are vibrations, they are bridges between you and the entire universe. Helena Blavatsky did not ask you to worship her. She asked you to awaken, to notice the invisible currents around you, to question where your attention flows. To ask yourself, what am I truly connected to? Because if everything is connected, then nothing you do is insignificant. The way you speak to a stranger, the story you tell yourself at night, the memory you choose to hold. Each is a thread. Each is power. Blavatsky's legacy is not a dogma, it is an invitation to see the world as alive, to treat your thoughts as sacred, to remember that you are part of something vast, intelligent, and deeply, beautifully conscious. And that every step you take, every breath, every idea ripples outward into that cosmic web. You may not see the ripple, but you are the ripple. So the question is no longer, do my thoughts matter? The real question is, what kind of world will I choose to think into existence today?